evening, Keeps Up the Cash. Gary B, the casual comic guy here, and I am joined with my sometime co-host, but always a welcome addition to any show that I'm doing. We have Chris, the comic vet, doing the co-hosting duties. Sir, how are you this evening?
I'm good. I'm glad to be here. I got to know Bill a little while ago this past weekend, so I'm hoping to dive deeper into his collection here.
Oh, it's going to be good. And Bill brought all raw goodness, but
all right,
let me not spoil it. Our man of the hour, the guy who's here to show us 10 books that are amongst his favorites, one with a personal story attached to it, and then a spec pick. And he does some spec pick videos on his, some good under the cover ones, like ROM number 1. But let's let Bill introduce himself and give a quick overview of his channel. But first, let's highlight the man of the hour here and give him the big C. Bill, how are you tonight, sir?
I'm doing well. How are you two?
Excellent.
Good.
Well, thank you for having me on the show. It's always a pleasure to be on with Chris.
Right?
And Gary.
It's true. It's
starting early.
Yeah, I would have brought all slabs because I thought Metarog could be co-hosting, and I know how he loves slab comics, but since he wasn't, I decided to bring all raw books today.
Special message from Matt Woods Comics.
Hey, when you're scraping the bottom of a barrel, there I am, Matt.
You got to get to the bottom eventually.
That's right, exactly.
So Bill, you're making the rounds this week. You're showing the books. You have probably you have an extensive collection, and what's great about your collection is it's very unique, and it's not what you're going to see on every other channel. Please make Bill on the small screen. I just got we're going to be laughing this whole episode. That's awesome. So you bring a different flavor, which is always refreshing. Your Slab Hub episode was great, and you guys haven't checked that out. Head over to Rob's Fat Stacks of Comics and check out the Slab Hub episode that Bill just was on last episode, and not just because I won on that episode, but because Bill showed some great books. But Bill, without further ado, we'll just get right into it. Let's get to a book and a cover and why it's one amongst your favorites.
All right, we'll do. Oh, so yeah, Biggie, you need to tell 84 to do another auction. It's been a quick minute. So the first one I have, it's not even really one of my favorites. I just know that Gary is lusting after this one, so I like to rub a little bit of salt in the wound.
Oh boy!
Whenever I get the opportunity.
That is the only book that I will not be able to get it. It's outpriced itself. What a cover.
It's the first appearance of Man-Thing. It's the only thing I care about. Is there anything else going on with it?
Exactly, right? Nothing else going on that cover.
Exactly. So 71, you see the painted cover. Second title featuring Conan. And this one is in low grade.
Oh, it matters not. It's still a beauty.
But I did get it maybe a couple of years ago in a Goodwill auction for like between 60 and 80. I can't remember. It was that and
keeps pouring the salt.
Wow. It's like wow.
They're like some old Hulks that were really beat up.
And, the rampaging Hulks?
An EC magazine, yeah. I wish they were like early Hulks, but they were like Silver Age Hulks that were pretty beat to heck. But this was the major reason. This, and there was an EC magazine that I got in that lot as well.
Nice. Hey, that's a great grab, especially since like an 8.0 of that's going for $1,000 now.
That's insane, isn't it? Yeah. Wow. I'd love to have a high grade copy, but
I mean that was probably only worth $500 or $600 like that. I mean, what a crappy magazine.
Yeah, this one's rough. There was another one I was looking at on a Goodwill auction this week. There was maybe mid-grade, but geez, that went for too much for my blood. Actually, what I'm doing is I'm buying and selling goats. So Matt, if you contact me after the show,
There's money in them yoga goats. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Well, he's got to keep Matt in dates, so he's got to deal with goats.
That's right. So, all right, there's that one. The next one is one I picked up not too long ago. It's in pretty good shape. It's got a gnarly crease at the top, but this is a Heavy Metal 288.
Oh, the Death Dealer.
Right. I'm a big Frazetta fan. And actually, once upon a time in a previous lifetime, I think Chris knows this because I mentioned it last time. When I was in the Army, I was in 3rd Corps. So I was in 3rd Battalion, 67th Regiment. First, we were in 1st Cavalry Division. Then we were in 2nd Armored Division, Patton's old division. But when I was in 3rd Corps, later, after I had gotten out, apparently they commissioned a life-size statue of Death Dealer to put in front of 3rd Corps headquarters. So that was pretty cool looking. I wish they'd have done that when I was in, but I think they were waiting for me to stop breaking things to get together the funds to get that statue.
And also,
We have a lot in common.
let's point out too that while you had that cover up, that painting there is the start of homages.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
I mean, there wouldn't. I mean that's probably
it's
been
classic.
homage more than anything else, even ASM 300.
Well,
I believe it.
Easy now.
I believe it. Who likes
Yeah.
Spider-Man anyways, right?
What? Ladies and gentlemen, good night.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, I hate you. I'm out of here. So yeah, that's always a special one for me.
All those Peter Parker fans are angsty, Bill. You just
Well,
got.
you've got a lot of dregs in your chat. Do you have any blue wrenches and get rid of these knuckleheads? We got Metarog, we got Mike, Night Tiger Comics.
The dregs are the blue wrenches. They pay good money for them.
Talk about the fox watching the hen house, right? All right. So the next one we have Blazing Combat #1.
Ooh.
This is a Frazetta cover as well. This one's really rough. And the cover is detached. But I got it for like
some of those don't matter.
$30
Just it's owning them. I'm sorry.
I got it on Etsy, which is somewhere I'd never gotten a comic book before. And it seemed like a pretty good deal to me. I have another one that's at CGC right now. I'll get it back hopefully in about 6 or 7 years since it's magazine size.
Now tell me, Bill, as someone who slabs magazines, because I got one out at CGC now. That's a Savage Sword Iconian 1. That's a 9.8 candidate. And I have my 9.4 Savage Sword over there. Are you going to try to use CBCS at all once their magazine slabs hit? Probably
not. I think I'm good with. So first of all, this is the first magazine I've ever sent in to get slabbed. Almost, I'd say 99% of my slabs were purchased as slabs. So I don't send a lot of stuff into CGC. I do have probably about 100 books there right now, just because recently this last year I started sending some in, but I think I'm good after that for a while, unless I feel the need to send some in for to ultimately to sell.
Right.
So yeah, I'd say I don't know, maybe in a couple of years if I change my mind and there's some magazine I'm dying to get slabbed and I have like a reader copy, then you'll need more than prayers, sir.
And Roger, don't forget, you'll see Bill Friday night with our patriotic show on this channel. So you're all over Bill this week.
Yeah. You lucky devil, you.
Doing the rounds.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll try it out. I was interested in trying EGS for a couple of like modern books that I really like to just to send in at some point, maybe next year, because I do like the labels, how that you can color code the labels to the colors in the actual book itself, just to try it out. But I don't know. We'll see. It costs a lot of money and takes a lot of time.
It does. I just wish that the GC magazine slabs were a bit sturdier. Like when you get them, you're all excited, and then it's just a rickety piece of plastic.
Yep. CGC is horrible with their magazine slabs because there's no pressure, right? They're like, well, do you want us to slab your magazine? If not, because you don't have an alternative, right? So hopefully with CBCS in the game, that will force CGC to up their game, because those slabbing machines are an incredible capital investment. And so when they're being inundated with requests for regular comic book sized comics, right, to be able to slab, it's hard for them to justify going and spending money on a new magazine slab machine when they could probably get a higher return on getting an additional comic book slabbing machine. So that's kind of where that's at. Somehow they have to have some pressure put onto them.
Right, and it doesn't help that there's not really a lot of new magazines these days that are made.
True. Yep. It's kind of niche. At least it's turning into that anyways.
All right, number 4, sir.
All right, number 4. We have, fittingly, piracy, number 4.
Oh.
So I am a mark for pirates, pirate history, just fun. I mean, coming from a seafaring town like Phoenix, Arizona, it's only natural.
Right. Can't keep you out of the water, huh?
That's right. Yep.
Always got the ship at sea.
Exactly.
The Port of Phoenix is doing big business these days.
It is indeed.
Right?
Yep.
Good fishing, I hear, too.
Yep. As soon as we drop off California, I'll have that oceanfront property. But I'm a fan of EC as well. I'm not necessarily collecting piracy, but
that's a spectacular cover. Who did that cover, Bill? Do you know?
This is probably Wood. Let me see. I'd have to look it up. Maybe Evans, Woods. Let's see. Who did that?
And you got Mike from Night Tiger Comics asking if you have any pirate issues by Hillman.
I don't. But I did look at them. They're the ones I looked at. I think there was one in particular on Electronic Bay. It was like out of my reach, but it looked really cool. Oh, okay. Reed Crandall. So there you go.
Oh, okay. Nice.
All right.
Cover art. EC probably, in my humble opinion, I'd say they have the greatest stable of artists ever put together for a comic book company, probably in history, not just in Golden Age.
All right, number 5, sir.
All right. Number 5 is Crime Suspense, issue number 24.
Wow.
Let's see.
Well. Here we are pushing our luck with the cover again.
Get it out of there.
Look at that pre-code goodness. That
right? Look at the face on the guy in the barrel.
Yeah. It looks like a shorn Metarog. That person with the axe right there. I'm not one to cast aspersions. But yeah, this one is George Evans.
Wow.
With the cover art.
Great stuff.
So, yeah,
Tales of tension.
Yeah. And I always love like the green behind their trade dress too.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they change it up as far as the colors. But just EC, for my money, it's not even close. They had the best stories in all their genres. Horror, crime, and shock was its companion title. The 2 war titles, the science fiction titles. I'd say War, Blazing Combat, which I showed earlier, that's probably neck and neck as far as quality and writing.
That's right. You can just rage somebody back.
Person for
That's
many
on
other
fire.
reasons.
That is on fire.
I'm here with open arms, Matt. Rush back in.
This is what Gary does to people that rage unsub him, Matt. Keep that in mind.
Well, that not only that, I mean, I got double motive. He's also got some nice Conans in better grades than I have.
He does. Yep. I think he has one. I think he has a Savage Tales #1 right now at CGC that he's waiting to send to me. As soon as it comes back.
Right.
I'm super excited about that. Thank you, Matt.
And,
All right.
and knowing that, it's going to be like a 9.6.
Yeah, probably. All right. Next, we have Squatront, issue #2. So
Never
this
heard
is
of that
actually
one.
a fanzine
Wow.
from 68, maybe 67, 68. And that's an Al Williamson cover that he did.
Okay, I was looking at that at the dinosaur. It looks fantastic.
Yeah, these are pretty cool. It definitely they've got interviews with EC creators. They've got artwork from some new artists that are breaking into the business, oftentimes who later on become pretty famous, and just tidbits about certain stories that maybe you didn't know. So it was a passion project. It had a companion fanzine called Spa Font. So there's Squatront and Spa Font. They were both EC fanzines.
That's a pretty well put together fanzine too.
Yeah, absolutely. And they ran quite a while, but with some huge breaks in between some issues, sometimes of several years.
Kind of like an alter ego, huh?
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. All right. Next, what number is this? I forget.
I think you're on 6. 7. Sorry, I have some cat 7. Thank you, Chris. I have some cat outside meowing, going crazy. I don't know, some neighbor's cat.
All right, we've got, and I never lose an opportunity to show this one. We've got.
Oh man!
How would you not?
Wow! Here we go.
Here we go. Right there.
Decent. I'd say a decent mid-grade. It's got some wrong side. It's got some little color breaking creases there and on the bottom. But other than that, it's in pretty good shape.
Did you pick up the facsimile they released a few years ago?
I did not. When was that? Yeah, that was maybe 3 or 4 years ago, I think.
Yeah, I have it over there because I'm like, it's the only time I'm going to own that cover.
Yeah, I had to sell quite a few.
Yeah, when I see those in cons, it still blows me away, the value on Vampirella 1. And I get it, though. Like, it's she's what, 2 books or 3 books a month still. And, who's of artists have done Vampirella over the lifetime of the character, and multiple variants per month. Still someone that's still a character that's cosplayed, incredibly. And, it takes a certain person to want to attempt to cosplay Vampirella.
Much to Gary's delight, by the way.
Right, yes. Yeah. Her popularity for a true independent, in my opinion, right now, never waned. She's always been there. Always been there, as far as I'm concerned.
I think the Christopher Priest run really brought her back to life.
Yeah. But
I think that, I mean, the stories have always been kind of Vampirella is definitely the definition of continual cover buy, I'd say.
Right.
And it doesn't hurt that Frazetta led off, right, with #1. And I think he had since repainted the original oil to remove the costume, because he wanted her completely nude. They said, nah, cover her up. So he did that a lot. Go back and retouch up his paintings over and over again. And that's one that he touched up and removed the bathing suit or costume from.
Right. I think that's the only bathing suit that no guy is ever going to say, why is there a collar attached to it? No guy's ever going to say there's a collar attached to their bathing suit. But
yeah. And she's popping her collar like a preppy. You gotta love that.
Well, that and so much sass in the face too.
Yep. Yeah. Oh yeah, definitely a Frazetta girl face, no doubt about that.
There you go, Master and Madam saying they're just in time for Vampirella 1.
Right. Yeah, I gotta admit, I've read some Vampirella over my time with comic books. They mostly been like crossover books or team up books, and I always thought the character was fascinating. Like, I've never sat down and read an entire volume of Vampirella, so I can't gauge whether or not she's had good writers, and I'm presuming probably not the best
I've
writers.
never read her either.
Right, but so the crossover stuff that I've read, I thought it was like, obviously the other characters were a little bit more in touch to what I was reading at the time, but yeah, fun, good character, like one of those characters everyone had to look over their shoulder because they weren't sure what they're going to get into with her.
She's got a great story, and I think there are a lot of possibilities. I just think that I'm a big believer in pressure, right, and opportunity cost. I think that the covers sell so well, there hasn't been enough pressure to really dig in with the writing and explore the character.
Right, I agree. That's a very fair take, Bill.
I'm nothing if not fair, Chris.
No.
All right, and next we have, what is this? Crime Illustrated, issue number 1.
Oh,
wow.
So this is that other one that was in with the Savage Tales in that Goodwill lot. That
Bill, I can't tell. Did she have an accident?
Yeah, she did.
No. It's geared for adults.
She rage unsubbed you.
Right.
Yeah. Picto fiction. Yeah, right there it says adult.
Right.
1955 Joe Orlando cover.
Yeah. Wow.
And like I said, this was EC's attempt to circumvent the Comics Code Authority, right? If it's magazine size and it's text heavy like a magazine, it doesn't need the Comics Code Authority seal. The problem was they had a reputation for being very violent, and a lot of the distributors wouldn't distribute any of their stuff, whether or not it was a comic book or a magazine. So the only thing that survived was Mad, because that had previously been converted to a magazine, and that's the only one that survived of all of their titles.
Wow.
All right. The next one we have, what is this, number 9, I think?
Yes.
Is the Savage Sword of Conan number 1.
Nice.
Goodness. Oh my goodness. Look what's going on in that cover. Now, I've seen this a handful of times in my life, but my God, every time, like, just like, I'm fighting on you and the carcasses of your brethren. Like,
And
that's the only way I'll fight.
Yeah,
right,
like,
right.
Yeah.
If you're not fighting on a carcass, you're doing it.
I don't want any part of it unless you've got skulls and bodies and bones upon which I can step.
That's when the party starts.
Yeah,
I'm going to treat your ancestors like floor tiling.
exactly. Yeah. So,
that is incredible.
Boris Vallejo, I'm a huge fan of. Right, I think it kind of like in the progression of fantasy art, it's kind of like Frazetta almost handed off to Vallejo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you got his wife Julie Bell, who's amazing.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah.
And
So
of course Ken Kelly, who we talked about.
exactly, love King. Yeah, Savage Sword had so many amazing cover artists. Not to even get into the inside of the magazine yet, but this is probably my favorite comic book series of all time, the Savage Sword of Conan.
It's so good.
It is.
And people go, oh, just the first 20 issues. No, there's great stories throughout that entire run.
Yep. And I read them all because I don't have all of the issues. So I read them all in the Dark Horse trade paperback set. I think there are 26 volumes. So the only difference is, number one, that's smaller, right? So they have to reduce the artwork a little bit more for that.
Mm-hmm.
It's black and white, just like the interiors here are black and white. But these sometimes had like coal and some red Sonja, sometimes some little backup stories.
Cole, Solomon Kane.
Yep. Kane had some backup stories that are in the magazines, but weren't included in that Dark Horse reprint. So you don't get those. Yeah. Just because they would probably have to work out separate licensing for each of the characters. And I guess they just weren't prepared to do that. So,
yeah,
I agree with Graphic Man, the Conan Saga reprints, because in the reprints, I mean, you get the magazine format color stories from some of Conan the Barbarian in the black and white format, and it's just a whole different experience and changes it. And not to mention, in Savage Sword, when they did the job, what was it, 236 Bill or something? When John Buscema did the Conan 1 retelling.
Yep. Yeah, it's incredible. I I think too, if I'm not mistaken, for at least many of the maybe first 10 or so of the Conan saga, I think Barry Windsor Smith did original cover art for those.
He did for the first 10.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha. Yeah. So that's pretty cool too.
But those reprint covers aren't bad to look at either.
No, absolutely not. All right. For the next one, we've got what was an AOK from the hairless one, Man Cave Comics.
Oh, Doc himself, huh?
Yep. And this is Crimes by Women. What issue is this? Gosh darn it. I think it's the last issue. I'd have to look up and see what it is. See, there you go. Matt knows what he's talking about half the time. He's right about that one. Yeah.
She's getting tossed out of a moving car.
Yeah, she is. Hey, when you consort with gangsters as a gun mall, you might want to expect something like this at some point.
Yeah.
But it says crimes by women, so you would think the women are committing the crimes, not the guys.
They are. She's with an unsavory bunch. And so she's been committing crimes with them until at some point she crossed them, or they got tired of her, or what have you.
Are there any other bunches to hang out with than the unsavory crime?
There aren't. And just so people know, like, you can go to digitalcomicmuseum.com and you can read issues like this for free, right? So this is public domain, and they vet everything that's on their site. So I use digitalcomicmuseum.com a lot just to read a lot of Golden Age books that are either too expensive for me to purchase, I haven't purchased yet, or I've purchased within a plastic coffin, and I'm unable to read the content. So yeah, for everyone that's interested, check that out. It doesn't work. I don't like it as much on a PC, but on like a tablet, it's a pretty good reading experience.
I think the only one that has more coffin comics is Metarog than you. Is that correct?
Yeah. Oh yeah. He swears by him, that guy. Always pushing him on everybody on his show. It's really annoying, but you know how he is.
Don't read them, slab them.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, but Roger, I like to read my comics. He's like, no, very immature.
Yeah, he's an elitist.
He is, absolutely. Everyone knows that.
Wow. I am not participating in this, Raj.
Please note,
I'm just along for the ride.
Roger's always been sub to me, but his mustache has rage unsubbed me on several occasions. All right.
So what? This is what, your 11th with a story now?
Yes. So
okay.
This is the one with a story. So normally I would bust out Micronauts #1.
Yes.
Yes.
Much to everyone's chagrin, because I've talked about that one ad nauseum, but that was the first comic book I ever remember purchasing. I think it was from a grocery store, or at least my mother purchased it on my behalf.
It's an awesome book.
It is an awesome book.
And you got Bill Mantlo writing. You can't go wrong.
You better believe it. He's one of the best world builders there are.
Right.
But I chose a different one. I went with an issue of Peanuts, number 13.
Huh?
Don't get too excited, Matt. I said Peanuts, you dirty bird. This is from 1962, and it's the final issue of the series.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I'm a big fan of just Charles Schultz's work.
Right.
Charlie Brown and Company. And check it out. He's got a red shirt, which is kind of cool, because you don't see that.
I got a lot in common with Charlie Brown.
Red shirt. Right. So does he die in that issue?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. He's visited by Spock and Scotty, right?
You got a red shirt, kid. You got to go.
That's right. Exactly.
Them's the rules.
Make it. We'll take the dog, though.
Right.
So, yeah. Love the cartoon. I used to always read it in the Wednesday and the Sunday papers. Yes, you do. It's part of your atonement for all of your sins, Matt. And there's a long list of them, sir. And I loved the specials, right? The Christmas specials, a classic. Yep. I even like that the
Great Pumpkin
Thanksgiving Day one, the Valentine's Day one. They seem to make one for just about every every
Well,
holiday.
he was a master of minimalist storytelling. He told a lot with just a few pictures.
He did, absolutely.
Because I don't think people realize that it's hard to tell a story with three frames, and some people are good, some people aren't.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't
I
want to
think
do it.
you keep it simple. You have a chance to be iconic. And I think that's what Charlie Brown and Snoopy and the gang have become, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I really love them. They first appeared, I think, in Tip Topper with Nancy and Sluggo. They weren't on the cover in that. I can't remember what it is, like 178, so something like that. And I have their first solo appearance, which is Peanuts #1, where they're in front of Charlie Brown's in front of a fireplace, getting ready to catch a ball. But it is so tattered, pieces falling off. And that's one that I've contacted Jerry, the Jitterbug, to see if he can help me save, because it's expensive. I don't think I'll be able to get it again. But beyond that, I just want to preserve it, right? It's such a cool book. Now, there's another #1, the #1 of Dell, where he's sitting on the couch with Snoopy watching TV. I have that one as well, but and I think I got a couple.
O'Reilly ringtone.
Oh no, that was just a regular.
So, what's your favorite Peanuts gag then? Being a Schultz fan. Then?
Oh, it's the kite. I think
The
tree-eating kite. Yeah, I took mini musings to fly a kite. I guess this was maybe half a year ago by now. It was really windy. I said, "All right, let's get your kite and out there and flying it." And we were doing it, and then I handed it over to him, and the kite-eating tree took over and grabbed it, and I was unable to rescue it. So yeah, I think it was there for like a month and a half before the HOA landscapers finally took it down. But what are you going to do?
Now,
and out of our esteemed people in the audience, who would you say is the most like Pigpen?
Oh gosh. Wow, that's like saying which of these people on the post office wall is the most dangerous. I'd say obviously Matt. He'd have to be in there.
Yeah, that comic room of his is a mess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's more of a mental Pigpen, if you know what
right?
I mean. But yeah, there's too many from which to choose, I think.
Bill, so Schultz did the cover work for that. How much did Charles Schultz actually have to do with that particular issue that you had there?
Not a lot. He did the cover.
So he did the cover. I guess the rest of it then was just farmed off to
Anthony
writers and artists.
Was his assistant. Yeah, his assistants would usually do the comic books, the interior art. Schultz would usually do the cover art, and they would do the interior art. Yep.
Yeah.
And there's usually, open it up. There's usually like I think Cats and Jammer Kids, or it might have been Captain and the Kids at the time, or a Nancy and Sluggo story in there. So there's the inside cover, and then there's a Peanut story, and it probably went an 8-page story, and then
Nancy and Sluggo with those black eyes,
and all black and white, huh, Bill?
Yeah.
No, just that was black and white, just the interior cover, but the actual pages on the inside are color. So we had 1, 2. These are all Peanuts.
Now,
and then there's a text story like you usually have in Golden Age.
Now, even back then, Bill, were they doing like Snoopy fighting the Red Baron?
There she is. Yeah, Nancy and Sluggo.
I mean, he's not in this particular issue. I don't know when that was first introduced, and it wouldn't have been introduced in the comic book. It would have been introduced in the strip. I just don't know when that was introduced in the strip. I'd have to find that out.
Now, being a Peanuts collector, did you buy the collected strips when they came out?
Gosh, I can't remember. I bought so many books and stuff. Oh, wow. Talk about, hey, Raul, what's going on? Boy, you've got all the dregs of society coming into this chat. This is incredible.
And Everybody likes to watch a train wreck, Bill.
Yeah, they do. I think D. Jackson Roy Kirk sent me an AOK for mini musings, actually, which I commandeered first and read them, of 2 collected Peanuts volumes. Oh, that happened a long time ago, Raul.
Right? Out when he was pirating in Arizona.
That's right. All right, so that is the one with a story.
All right, so now we have a spec pick from you.
All right, spec pick will be Mouse Guard Winter 1152.
Oh, now I've read some Mouse Guard.
Yes.
Really good. They were in talks years ago about making a motion picture. And I think there are some fans who did some concept footage that looked like it would be really cool. I can't remember if it was Disney or Netflix. I think it was Netflix that had optioned it, but it never came to fruition. I think that it would be a really, really, really good movie if they could pull it off. But never happened. This one is the second, I think, series.
Now, when did that come out?
I'll have to check.
And just
2007.
Too.
Yeah, 2007. But the first series is a little bit more expensive. So this was in one of my 5 under the radar picks, just because it's a bit more affordable than the first series from 2005, I think.
Yeah, and I had some of those, but for some reason, moving, I've gotten rid of so many books that popped moving. It's just you can't even think about it anymore.
Yeah, you can't hold on to everything, right? So,
but I just always remember the art just being absolutely extraordinary.
Yes.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
And that could be like today's Watership Down.
That was a great book and cartoon, if you remember the cartoon as well.
That's a good analogy, Gary.
Yeah. Definitely like that. Maybe not quite as violent as Watership Down, and maybe it's because I was so much younger that I remember it being a bit more violent, but definitely along those lines. Yeah.
There you go. Wow. You got Matt Woods, he's heard of it, but never read it.
Well, he's never read anything. People generally read to him.
Right.
Oh my goodness.
It's your turn, Matt. The
Is that what they're
mouse?
Wow.
The
hostilities
doctor
are running
encourage
hot
them,
tonight.
so I try to do that as much as possible.
Wow.
Oh, we got Watership Down.
Yeah, and that is it. Those are my picks.
Hooked on.
And it's too bad because we're really missing a classic animation movie like that these days. Which is just a genre shaper.
Yeah, I think so.
What would be the last one? Maybe the first Toy Story then, because that movie, the first one, seems to hold on to held into the generation that it was presented to, and I still hear references about that film. But yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, I think the last one for me was Fire and Ice for me with the Bakshi movie. But that's the art in it's amazing, but the story's not as amazing.
Another one that just popped in my mind is Frozen.
Oh yeah,
every young girl can sing along. Every young girl, say 15 and under, can sing along with that movie, and yeah.
But I'm talking about something that has the gravitas of a Watership Down. I think if they did Mouse today, that would be it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mouse that's a tough one though.
It is.
It's such heavy material, right? How do you present that in a way that's palatable, especially for a younger audience? That would be a challenge, I think.
Yeah.
I think Roger hit it too with Lion King. Everybody sings songs from the Lion King still, and that movie's been out forever.
That's true.
The Circle of Life.
Yeah, there have been a lot of good ones, I guess, especially from Disney and Pixar. But I like the older celled animation. You know, I'm old school like that. I think The Princess and the Frog was the last time Disney did that. Was with that movie, and it didn't go over terribly well, and it cost a lot of money. So I think that they abandoned it after that. But I'm more of a Johnny Quest throwback kind of fellow myself.
Love Johnny Quest back in the day. So good.
Yeah. All
And
my
like
favorite cartoons.
Herculoids, Space Ghost.
Space Ghost, I didn't watch. Herculoids, loved it. Yeah.
Yep. Thundar the Barbarian was a favorite.
Right. Wow, yes.
Matt tried to get me into Care Bears, but I couldn't go. It just wasn't my speed, but he was all over that one.
Yeah, heavy metal. Yeah, I've seen a few heavy metal show up there. Yeah.
I have not seen that film, but I remember it being talked about. Ooh, that's kind of naughty when I was a young man.
You never saw heavy metal, Bill?
No.
Wow. No, for me, there's obviously you heavy metal's known for one thing, but for me was the gratuitous violence of those planes flying over the wartime. And the rounds going through the airplane, ripping the soldiers in half and stuff, and then the planes going down. Like, this is mind blowing.
It was, and not to mention too, the character Tarna is still relevant today for the most part. There's still new series popping up with her all the time now.
Yeah,
and the last one that was out with her was fantastic. And that's a character you would like, Bill.
What's that?
Oh, the comic book Tarna from the heavy metal universe.
Mm-hmm.
Really, really great character and story. You got Matt Woods telling you, don't knock the Care Bears. All right, so Bill would definitely be Grumpy Bear, but who would Matt be?
Matt would be, I don't know.
Or would he be the guest My Little Pony crossing over into the
Gary?
Well, Gary's a brony, Chris, in case you didn't know.
No. I thought like Gary's more like Funshine Bear, like just bright and chipper, and everyone likes Funshine. Yeah.
I'll take it.
Yeah. I used to watch Smurfs. That was a great one, right?
Snorkels.
Yeah.
I like
that was like
Smurfs
Smurfs underwater, right?
It's underwater.
Wow. Snorks, right? Snorks.
Yeah, the Snorks.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a good one. Yeah, I don't watch much TV or movies anymore. I mean, really, TV, I'll watch some comic book YouTube, and that's probably about it.
And John Candy was acted in that too.
I'm behind on movies and TV shows. That
happens once adulting gets in the way. That stupid adulting gets you.
Exactly. Yeah, that is true.
I don't know who invented it, but we need to find one and beat the crap.
I need a break. A couple of years from that. Yeah.
Well, Bill, thank you so much, man. Those were some great books. I really like that you picked a book for Spec that a lot of people only kind of heard of but never read. And something like that, especially the way streaming services are going, you'd never know what's going to pop up. And something with as strong as storytelling as Mouse Guard could easily get developed. And I think I do remember some of the animation tests you were talking about too. But great books, great classic artists. And I know probably covers most people that are going to watch this on the rewind haven't seen before. And that's part of what this show is about, is not bringing something new that people haven't seen, but also giving guys like you a stage, regardless of what the audience is saying about you. So they can be introduced to new creators and new aspects of what's out there. Because most of the shows we're watching these days, you're seeing the same books over and over again. Everybody's showing an ASM 300 or a 252 or the Team Up 240, whatever it is.
Easy,
all those tired Spider-Man books. Yeah.
You can talk about Avengers books. You don't have to talk about Spider-Man.
Sad to announce that Chris left co-hosting duties after.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I won't sit here for this.
We're going to talk backstage, you and I. No,
right.
Just to be clear, because I did mention this before, I love Spider-Man. I think most people do, but because of that, the prices have always been high, right? And so when I was looking, a couple of decades ago about which ones I wanted to collect, Spider-Man was just already out of my wheelhouse, my ability to do it. But Marvel, kind of like Showcase. Showcase has Showcase Presents. Marvel has
Marvel Tales.
Exactly. They have the Ultimate app, but they also have a series of black and white trade paperback books, Marvel Essentials.
Oh, the Essentials.
Yeah, that you can buy for a really good price, where you can consume some of those older issues like AF-15, ASM 1 through 100, essentially. And so that's kind of what I've done. I've got a lot of both of those, Showcase Presents and Marvel Essentials. They're in black and white, so they're not color.
No, but it's great. It adds a different aspect to reading them, because I have the Spider-Woman ones, I have the Marvel 2-in-1 ones, and some team-up ones. He's Matt Woods. We're going to put it up there, so it's up there forever, Bill. It's etched on screen. He will never
Thank you,
admit
Matt.
this again.
I appreciate that. Matt's one of my buddies. You only mess with the ones that you love, right?
I say that all the time. You only, if I don't talk to you or pick on you, I must not like you very much.
Exactly. I feel the same.
I'm not busting your balls, and just leave me alone.
Yep.
The Essentials are great, and it is fun to read them in black and white. It does. Every time you read something that was color first and you read it in black and white, it gives it a different freshness to it.
It really does, and vice versa. Like I remember when preparing for a stream with Roger for our Ghost Rider streams that we did a retrospective on. I had read those all originally in the Marvel Essential trade paperbacks. And then when I went to reread them, because I had forgotten it was so long ago, I wanted it to be fresh in my mind. I read them on the Marvel Unlimited app, which was in color. And it's like, wow, it's almost like reading a different story. It's so different from black and white to color. So.
Right.
No, but great stuff. I want to thank everyone in our audience tonight. This was a really fun show. You guys kept it funny. You guys kept it fresh. You guys gave Bill a bunch of shit, which he deserves. So thank you. And,
True.
We're gonna go around the horn here. Chris, what have you got coming up, sir?
Well, yesterday I actually dropped a brand new video for Monday, just showing some stuff I got in the mail. And everyone who hasn't checked it out, you may want to check it out, because this guy right here sent me a little something. And
that guy's a bomb.
Incredibly kind. Tomorrow, it'll be a new Comic Book Day hangout on my channel. If you hit up your LCS tomorrow, feel free to reach out to me, and I'll send you a link. You can hop on the panel and show the books that you just picked up. And at some point later on this week, I'll be having another Walmart blind pack opening. I'll have 3 of them to check out and see if they're any good. And at some point, I've been really running this through my mind about what I want to do about my ASM 1 to 50 run that I've been working on. I think it's time that I start breaking them down and put it to video, say 41 to 50 and then 40 to 31, and go that way over the next, over the remainder of the year, just kind of show everyone that, this task that's taken me almost 10 years to accomplish, just to show how close I am to actually having it done. I'm really close. No, I would say probably about 95% of it's slabbed. And so there might be maybe 2 or 3 or 4 that's raw. But it's I think it's time that I start showing that collection.
Absolutely. And coming up for me this week, we have Scott from Hoarder's Hide on In the Hot Seat with the Usual Suspects.
Nice.
And I don't know if you're up for co-hosting again, Chris. There'll be spots on that night.
Okay.
Thursday night, so let me know. Also, coming up on Friday, we have a special show where, if you haven't seen enough of this guy on YouTube this week, Bill, who's been on everything, he will be back on my channel. We're doing a special because it's between Flag Day and July 4th. We're having a special Patriotic Covers Day. Everyone's going to bring 5 of their favorite covers, show them. And if you guys are watching in the audience, you can tell us who had the best show. Don't let Bill buy your opinion. Just vote fairly.
I use
But you'll
IOUs when I try to buy opinions. By the way,
We're gonna have Scott from Hoarder's Hide will be in that show. Bill will be in that show. We'll have Roger Metarog himself, and we'll also have Mike from Night Tiger Comics. We're gonna have a great plus Bub from Bub's Comics. So we got a great panel showing. I invited people I knew had some good old covers, and you guys are gonna get quite the show because these guys are going to be a treat. I'm just there to facilitate them, and they're going to bring the heat. And guys that love the flag and love the country, and are going to show a lot of great stuff. So I'm looking forward to that. Tune in Friday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Bill, what's coming up for you, sir?
Not a lot this week. I had my 5 spec picks for June yesterday, and that'll be my only video this week. And then Monday, I'll have a haul video of next week. And then Wednesday, I'll resume my top 500 pre-code horror comics series.
Which, if anyone's not watching Bill's pre-code horror series, he's counting down the top 500. He makes it very consumable, 20 covers at a time. And he makes it a little fun. He gives little narrations like stabbing in at number 475.
That's good.
And so he adds a little flair, so makes it fun.
It's been fun.
Great covers.
It's been a labor of love, that's for sure.
Right. And the only sad thing about some of those covers, Bill, and I commented on one of them, is that back then they just didn't really care about crediting the cover artist, and it's really hard to find out who did some of that fantastic work.
Yeah, it's tough, especially certain companies like Feral, some of the ones that consume packaged material from the Iger Studios, they didn't credit. And Superior, which is a Canadian company, they never credited their artists. So it's really tough to find information about them.
Pretty good.
Right? All right. And guys, I want to thank everyone very much. Again, Chris, thank you for co-hosting. It's always great to have you on the show, buddy.
Anytime, Gary, anytime.
Bill,
man.
thank you for once again being humble enough to come on my channel and do another show with me.
My
And
humility is really my greatest strength, I'd say, Gary.
It's hard to be humble.
besides being handsome, right?
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. It's always great to hang out with you guys.
And anyone catching on the rewind, if you don't know this guy and you don't know my co-host, their links are in the description. Go sub these guys up, consume some of their content, and you'll like them just like everybody else does, man. They're awesome people. And until next time, guys, keep it casual.